Hi, I'm Jessica from INNOVA Long Arm. I'm here to show you how to construct our Jake's Wave quilt that we have available for purchase on our website. Okay, now that we've finished stitching all of our rows together, we're ready to move on to our borders. I have my fabric X here back on my cutting board, and we're ready to start cutting our strips for our borders. I've carefully folded the fabric, and I'm going to start off by making a straight edge. Okay, following our pattern, we're going to begin cutting the strips needed for the first part of our border. Okay, so while we already have this fabric squared up and straightened on our cutting board, we're going to go ahead and move along and cut the remainder strips we need for our border that are also going to be out of this fabric. Okay, we just finished cutting all the strips we need from our fabric X for our border, and we're moving on to fabric number 6. I've already squared off one side and I have everything lined up, so we're ready to cut. Okay, so we just finished cutting all the strips that we need for our border. I have the 5th strip out of the wider cut of fabric X laying here because we're going to need to cut one of the strips in half. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half. Okay, so now that we've cut this strip in half, we're going to be sewing these shorter strips to a longer strip that we've already cut. Okay, next for our fabric 6 strips, we're going to take 2 pieces and we're going to be sewing these together to make one long strip. And you're going to do this for all the strips that you cut out of fabric 6. Okay, so all of our strips are ready. I've already found my centers, and so now we're going to stitch these together, matching all of our centers together. Okay, so now that you have all your borders sewn together, we're going to press our borders, and we're going to be pressing our seam allowances to the middle strip. Okay, so now that we've finished pressing all of our strips for our border, we're ready to attach them to our quilt top. So I've already taken my quilt top down from my design wall, so I'm going to find the center of the top. Okay, so now that you've found the center of the top of your quilt top, you're going to find the center of your border strip. The shorter strips are going to be for your top and bottom. Okay, so we've found both of our center points. We're going to match these together and pin them together. Now we're ready to take this over to our sewing machine. Be sure for mitering the corners that you start 1/4 of an inch in and end with 1/4 of an inch left. Okay, so now that we've finished sewing all of our borders on, the last thing we have to do is miter our corners. So what you're going to do is fold your fabric diagonally and match up these edges. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and stick a pin down here just to keep everything in place. Okay, now that you have everything in place, you're going to grab your ruler and you're going to match up the 45-degree angle line with the top, lining the edge of your ruler up with the fold. Okay, now that that's lined up, you're going to take your marking pencil and you're going to draw along this line. And I'm also going to pin along this line to keep that in place. Okay, you're going to repeat the same process for the rest of your corners. Okay, so now that we've finished marking all of our corners, we're ready to take this over to our sewing machine, and you're going to stitch along your marked lines. And then you're going to be trimming your excess and pressing, and then your Jake's wave is complete.